Welcome to the eSailing RYA Youth Nationals. We have had so far 153 entries taking part in qualifying, first of all on Saturday, where there were 8 groups taking part in 20 boat fleets. They were sailing in J70s. There were 6 races with 2 discards, and the top 4 from each group went through to Sunday's semi-finals, where there were 3 races with 1 discard. And now, today, we have the top 10 going through to today's final. And the race format for today is fantastic. We have got, in race 1, we'll be sailing in J70s. Race 2, we'll be sailing in 49ers. And race 3, the final race, 10 F50s out on the water with the course that they did in the America's Cup, the reaching starts, the windward lewards, like you see in the Sail GP. So this is going to be a really exciting race format and something you'd never normally see. And then joining me today for the race commentary, I've got Luke Patience, who was the silver medalist at London 2012 in the 470 class. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Now, it must feel a bit different. You were there in the round 1 of the Lockdown Cup. And so what's it feel like this time actually watching the racing and not taking part?
Less nerve-wracking. Honestly, my heart was beating every time we were getting ready for the first race. So it's just something inherent in us to feel nervous before a race. So I'm pleased to not be feeling that and watching the body language of all these boats.
Well, I can tell you actually watching the racing on the commentary, the heart rate goes up anyway. So let's see if it goes to the same for yours. Now, Johnny, who've we got racing today? We've got Johnny McGovern, who's running the racing today. You'll see Johnny Boatface on the race course, but he's not taking part. He's just managing the racing. So please exclude him from the results. Johnny, who've we got?
So I'll take you through it from our top 10. This is the order that they actually qualified. So our leader going into this final race was Terry Hacker. So he's a former FIVA national champion and Offie World's team sailor. Then we have Jack Lewis, who's a current 420 sailor, but has also sailed RS FIVAs and been a European champion in RS FIVA. Got James Foster, who sails the Laser Radial currently, and he's the Laser Radial National Champion 2019. And then we got Mike Donovan, who is the Scottish RS 200 National Champion as a crew. So we've got Mike Donovan there. And then we got Joe Drake. Joe Drake is a Laser Standard sailor. He was the first youth at the Nationals 2019. Then we got Max Steele. Max Steele, who's... just looking at he's from the RS Terror class from the past, and he's won multiple events in RS Terrors by the look of it. And then we've got Ted Lane, who's 29er national squad sailor. Got Dan Meadowcroft, who is national 12 sailor, got multiple national 12 titles there. And then we've got our leading girls team, which is Isabel Waha, which she not sure what class she sails, so we'll have to ask her in the racing. But her career highlight involves singing the frog song. And then we've got Blake Tudor to round up the top 10, whose career highlight on his list is running into the rudder in a dinghy park. So we'll have to ask him about that as well.
I've got to say, it's great, some of the descriptions. Singing the frog song for Ben Ainsley in the regatta fleet, and then running into a yacht rudder and knocking yourself out, Blake. That's quite a career highlight. Now, Johnny, shall we get race 1? This is the one in the J70s underway.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey.
Now, Luke, we saw some superb starts during round 1 of the Lockdown Cup. These youth sailors, they've had a lot of practice over the last few days. We know that the quality of youth sailing is fantastic in this country. What are you expecting to see?
Well, I mean, as a commentator, I'm hoping to see absolute carnage, but my heart tells me that these top 10 that have gone through a grueling process to be in the start line are probably far better than that. And I'm going to make it look quite controlled. But I am obviously hoping for some carnage to talk about.
Now, if you look on the racecourse, you will see light blue patches everywhere. They are actually the wind shadow, a lot of the boats, and it's something that really makes a big difference. Luke, did you find that those wind shadows, finding that clear air, was absolutely key for your racing last Wednesday?
Yeah, it was. And do you know what? It's different on each boat as to how important that is. So it'll be really curious to see through the course of these 3 races who can average that out and change their style accordingly. Here we go, though. 2 seconds to the start, and we are
And we're
away.
underway. What a superb start. And we can see there, it looks like we're just going on board with Terry 1, 2, 3, 4, just in the lead of a pack who went away at the start line.
It's a really nice start from Terry. I mean, I'm looking at the picture now and I'm seeing a bit more wind on the right-hand side of the course currently, but obviously there's a lot of upwind yet to go, which can easily turn on its end by the windward mark. So it'll be interesting to see if Terry can get out of this left corner and get himself into that breeze, or if he's made a nice little gain by being left of hook.
He's got the option to tack here. Now, Luke, you said the breeze over on the right. Would you choose to tack now, or do you think he's seen something you haven't?
He's possibly seen something I haven't, because I understand he is the winner coming into this day. So I'm not going to cast that judgment. He's currently lifted, and he's just rolled into attack now. So we'll see if he can get across the fleet.
Now, what you were saying, that wind on the right-hand side, we can just look across. And at the moment, the left is still paying, but is this going to change as you come in towards the windward mark? Here we are. It's 29.2738. This is Ted Lane currently in the lead, coming in. Oh, looks like very close to this ley line on the left-hand side of the beat.
I like that positioning. When you're up on that left-hand ley line, you can just look under your boom, Cyber, and you can watch the whole fleet and how it's playing out. I've managed to win a few races out from there, so I like what you're doing out there, and I'm hoping it pays off for you.
I'm just trying to look under the boom myself from the commentary angle, but I can't get my drone quite low enough just to see underneath his boom.
But here we go. I've got the wind turning further right at the top here. I can see the windsocks moving further and further right. That might make it hard for the boats that are far left, so we'll find out.
Let's take a look at Jack Lewis, who has gone beyond the ley line on the starboard side. Now, if the breeze has gone right, do you think they are actually going to come into this mark with a good bit of pace and maybe into the lead?
Yeah, I do. I do think that. However, we've just seen Terry tack under on the ley line there. He came from the left. Obviously, we saw him start down at the pin end, and I think he's done a really good job of digging his way out the left corner just at the right time. So I'm impressed to see him there.
It does look like he just took that tack earlier, and maybe that is what has put him into the lead. He has rounded the windward mark first. That shows some real gameplay and really seeing the shifts on the course.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, he's an early kite hoist as well here from Terry, but we'll see him bear away.
A 30-metre lead at that mark and straight away into the jibe.
Now, what I'll be curious of is, has Max Steele managed to take his win? Oh, he has indeed. Terry's just jibed back off again.
He was very quick to jibe. When you saw that light blue patch just across him, he was very quick to clear his air there.
Yeah.
Excellent sailing. And Luke, one of the things when you're out on the race course in the 470, those quick decisions, do you think that they are the things that make the difference at the end of the day?
Yes, I do. And I think it's leaving your ego on the shore as well. So when you can admit you've just tacked a jibe in the wrong place, is just to let someone get the better of you and come back and do the next right thing is imperative. And we saw Terry do that there. He got jibed on, he jibed straight back out, and he's back in a good lane. And here we see him rounding the leeward marks, having even extended his lead.
A pair of jibes there as well. And so he clearly had the confidence that he wanted to go left on this beat.
Yeah, exactly. And for good reason. I'm seeing a big left shift up on that port ley line. So perhaps this is going to be another extension for him.
So Terry Hacker in the lead. Then we've got Jack Lewis in second place. And Deja Vu is Mike Donovan in third place. And then in fourth, we've got Ted Lane currently. And then James Foster in fifth. The
What's
place is
interesting
just
here as
changing in the
well
fleet here.
Oh, sorry, Mark. I was just saying what's interesting is from sort of third through to eighth place, even ninth, is really, really tight on distance. Although Terry's got a lovely lead right now, there's a battle going on from third to ninth just for that third place spot in this race.
And Terry, can you talk us through your race so far?
Well, I started off at the pin end and came off the line with a good start. I tried to tack at the best opportunity I had to try and get across the fleet, and I went for the early hoist because I saw that the angle was low enough for the kite. So I put it up early so I could get a nice mark grounding on the spreader.
Now,
But on the second beat right now, I went over to the left to get into that more wind in that left shift, but it's just shifted right.
I can see that Jack Lewis has now taken the lead. Now, you decided to tack back at this point rather than just go in towards Jack. Are you hoping the wind then goes back a little bit to the left so that you can sneak in at that windward mark?
Yeah, you see it's already going back to the left, so I did a good job in tacking, I guess.
This is going to be tight here.
No,
Jack.
This is good fun. What's Jack going to do? Okay, he's come early.
Oh,
Deja
really?
Vu got an absolute pelting there from Jack.
Here we are coming into the windward mark. Both Jack and Terry. This is going to be really tight, and Jack is just going to shut the door on him, it looks like.
Oh, I think we've had a rule break there.
Oh!
Whoa.
I don't know what happened there. I think I
Jack
should
getting
have
the
got that
penalty there. That
I'm
seemed a
amazed
little bit
Jack
harsh
got
to me there.
Oh, that was a penalty, I don't know.
I think I should have had that penalty.
I've got to admit, it looked like Terry coming in on port at the windward mark. That did look like it was going to be a penalty there for Terry, but the rules are the rules. The umpire's decision is final.
Yeah. Well, it's Terry's to lose now from here. He's got himself a nice 74-meter lead, which is a really comfortable place to be on that last run. But I am looking at a big difference in pressure down the course and a big difference in wind shift angle. So there's plenty of opportunity for passing in this final leg.
Now let's go on board with Iswiz, who's in 6th place, heading down the run. Do you see some pressure on the left there?
Yes, I'm trying to go that way and hopefully cover Deja Vu so I can win some places.
We can see the two pink boats here, Deja Vu and Iswiz. I can see there you are, just putting quite a tight cover on them just to try and get past here. 2 places gained, or 3 places gained on this left-hand side.
Yeah, it's really nice. As we thought there was going to be a load of opportunity on this final leg. I really like what Izzy's done there and Deja Vu there. They've played a really nice final leg. Just shows you it's never over till it's over.
Fantastic racing here. And there we're just seeing Terry coming into the finish line to take the win. I think he rolled double sixes on that windward mark. But if you get those opportunities every so often, you've just got to take them.
Such a great pullback from Isabel here. She rounds across that finish line in 4th, and I'm very impressed by that final run. That was smart, simple, and away from the fray, which so often works in these races.
And Luke, you made that call with the winds, the pressure there, and is just totally took advantage of that. So fantastic move to get through the fleet.
Smart sailing, smart sailing. It's good what this game can teach you.
Okay, well, let's set up for race 2. We are now in race 2 of the final of the eSailing RYA Youth Nationals, and this time the crews have made a very, very quick change into 49ers. And so the winner of was Terry Hacker of the J70s in race 1. Some would say maybe a little bit lucky with windward mark manoeuvre, but if you're going to roll 6s, then just be lucky. Now, Luke, 49ers, things are going to be speeding up now. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, my thoughts are that you really get punished on meters downwind in these boats. It's really easy to jibe on people, and so the downwind becomes incredibly tricky. So I think we'll see the majority of our passing moves downwind.
Okay, Johnny, let's roll into the starting sequence, please.
Here we go.
Okay.
It's another beautiful sunny day here in Portsmouth. We've got the Spinnaker Tower, you can see there in the background. Everybody out on the beach enjoying the racing virtually.
Looks like we've got the wind out the southeast here at the moment, which is giving us a good bit of runway for the breeze. But I'm still seeing it quite patchy as I look upwind. I hope the sailors are seeing similar things.
Just 40 seconds to the start now. We're on board with James Foster at the moment.
Seeing a bit of a right shift. It's quite starboard bias. I don't want to be influencing anyone that's listening, but I know where I'd be right now.
Now, Luke, one of the races last time you decided to start pretty much inside the committee boat.
I did indeed. I was just collecting my sandwiches off the back before the race started.
No doubt haggis sandwiches, I hope.
Exactly. You got to keep fueled up.
Good
Right,
bit of
here we
mayonnaise
go.
with that. Just 5 seconds to go.
This looks a pretty tight start line. Oh, wonderful start from Terry again down at that pin end.
A few OCSs, but look at Terry's start right on that pin end. And he's away.
We're seeing a theme
49ers.
here, aren't we, Mark?
Flying upwind here. And we've also got Ted Lane right up there. Let's move across to Ted. And there he is, Ted, the very left-hand boat of the fleet. And wow, what a day for sailing.
Now, what you can see here as I scroll around is the distance between the far right boat and the far left boat is astronomical. And that's when tiny, tiny shifts or boat speed differences can make massive differences at the end. I'd be nervous as hell right now if I was either one of those boats in the corners of the course.
And so this is huge separation on the race course. But those starboard tackers, you often see it in the 49ers. Once they get going on starboard, if they've got clear air, they just go as fast as they possibly can. Just, would you say in the 49ers less tax than you do on, say, your 470 racing?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the faster the boat, normally the fewer the maneuvers, because you take too much of a percentage off your top speed. So, but,
and we can see right across on the right-hand side and clearing those left-hand boats by some distance was Deja Vu, Mike O'Donovan. Mike, how's it going so far?
Yeah, pretty good. Got a good start on the starboard end, so really pushing the line. That helped a lot.
And this is a 30-meter lead. You must be over the moon with this.
Yeah, it's helping the nerves a bit.
Don't hit the mark now.
Yeah, I did that twice last race.
Lovely clean beat from you there, mate. You are
Beautiful
awesome.
rounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just putting the spinnaker up because it's low enough angle.
I mean, you've taught me something there today. I've never thought to put the kite up on the spreader leg, so that's going in my notebook.
I've just been an idiot though. I've closed it.
This is some really clean racing, Luke. Luke, we did not see this.
Lagging.
We did not see this clean racing in the Lockdown Cup. Now they are playing it really nicely.
It's really nice, but sadly, I think we might have distracted there, Mark, and caused a few hiccups from Deja Vu. So we apologise for that. But
my game's crashed.
Oh, has it now? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now that is bad luck. So let's go on board with Dan Meadowcroft, who is in the lead. Dan, you've taken advantage of that.
Yeah, I think we're quite lucky.
Now, are you going to be aiming for a pair of jibes here, or trying to soak down to these marks?
Sorry?
You're going to soak down, no, a pair of jibes into the marks. And James Foster has taken advantage there.
It's there's an interesting bit of breeze down the middle of this course, Mark. There's light breeze on the right and light breeze on the left. So this won't be easy to try and decide where you actually put the boat.
But here,
Maybe-
James Foster must have seen that, because he went round that mark and instantly tacked into the centre of the course. And it seems to be paying for him so far. James, what were your thoughts there?
Well, as I came down the run, I just saw the pressure building in the centre. Decided to go around that mark, tack round as the wind started to head, and now I'm heading towards the centre of the course to try and get the pressure that's coming down.
Now, Luke, this is exactly what you talked about, where you're going down the run, but you've got all the things to think about, like dropping the spinnaker, but a quick look over the shoulder to plan your tactics for the beat. Another thing that you do often. Is it good to see the youth sailors doing this?
Yeah, do you know, I'm impressed with, we would call it mature placement on the race course. So you're sailing above your years, you're content with the gain you've made already. It's all just about putting your eggs in a few baskets to make sure that your risk is never too high. So I'm impressed with where James put his boat and with how he's talking about it. So I think youth sailing is in a good place right now.
Now it's going to be very, very close at this windward mark, and we can see there we've got Dan Meadowcroft and James Foster rounding neck and neck, really tight coming into the hitch mark here.
This will be a great run. You guys are neck and neck with each other. Again, we've got another very shifty, very patchy run, so it'll be interesting to see how they jostle out with each other, and I can imagine there'll be a few place changes yet again. And they've already split at that wing mark, so we're in for a good show on this final leg.
So this is going to be very tight. At the moment, it's showing James Foster in the lead, this right-hand side of the run. And there also we've got Dan Meadowcroft. Oh, they're going across centre of the course. Luke, you still think that breeze is in the centre of the course?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I'm impressed at Dan jibing forwards there rather than taking the full starboard effect on James. And so he's jibed back into what's a slightly windier part of the course again. The hard thing now, of course, is the ley lines are coming. And what are we going to do when we jibe back? We're exposed to being jibed on. Just like that.
And there, exactly. You have just been predicting every single move here, Luke. And wow, look at that. Closing gauge straight away.
I mean, it's not over yet. There's about 2 boat lengths between them both, and they're not yet on the ley line to cross the finish line. So it's going to be an interesting time. I imagine Dan has got the heartbeats up at the minute.
And so is this getting your own pulse rate up there, Luke?
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited, but Dan's done a good job of defending that. Lovely race.
Oh, just held it. That was a really, really tight finish, but there, Dan came away, Dan Meadowcroft, with the win, just ahead of James Foster there.
Brilliant. Good racing. And that was a tight finish as well for 3, 4, 5. And there was almost a direct line between the boats that were crossing the line. So there's, yet again, seconds between these boats that are crossing the finish line.
Fantastic racing. Now we will have race 3 starting very soon. Next race up is in the F50. Okay, we are here. This is the final race of the eSailing RYA Youth Nationals. Now, Johnny, could you just give us a rundown of the top 5 on the leaderboard going into this final race?
Yep, so really tight on points going into the last race. In 5th place on 10 points, we got Isabel Waha. On 9 points, we've got Jack Lewis in 4th. And then in 3rd place, James Foster on 8 points. And then 2nd, Dan Meadowcroft on 6. And then leading currently is Terry Hacker on 6. So 4 points separating the top 5.
Wow, this is tight racing. And now we actually have the F50s. So we have a fleet of 10 F50s out on the water, most of them in the Ineos Team UK branding. So it's going to be, this is where we have a reaching start, down a run to a gate, beat up to the windward mark, run to the gate, beat again, run to a middle mark, and then a reach across to the finish. So the same sort of format as you had in the Bermuda Americas Cup, and also a bit like the Sail GP. Luke, this is going to be an exciting finale.
Yeah, and actually, I think this will be a high-scoring race, high tariff. These boats are not easy to get around the course cleanly, so I think we might see a fair few gains and losses around this track, which is good for us. And they're notoriously tricky to keep foiling around the leeward marks and the windward marks. So I'm hoping that'll make for some good action for us to talk about.
Johnny, let's get into the sequence.
Alrighty, here we go.
Now, this time just a 45-second sequence.
Yeah.
Everybody just milling around, taking it easy. There's clearly some nerves out on the race course. Terry, how does it feel?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I'm just doing my race.
I'm not going to distract you. You've got 20 seconds to go, so I think everybody really doesn't want to speak. Luke, 15 seconds to go. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm kind of just looking at the fleet now from a distance, and everyone's picking up speed. The hard bit here is time and distance, and it feels awfully tight right now, but I think we've got a clean start and away. I really like Dan's start here, right up at the starboard end. He's controlling his wind shadow and everyone else. I think he might just nip round the front of the fleet, but no, it's not. It's actually a
Deja vu. This is Micah Donovan, first around.
Into
and here they go down towards the leeward gate.
Beautiful.
We also have the boundaries in effect. This is going to make it really tight with 10 boats on the course.
And Mike's just leading the fleet round that left turn. He's up on his foils. He's moving quickly. That is a very controlled and comfortable place to be after the second mark rounding.
Wow, with 10 boats on this tight a racetrack, this really is incredible racing.
Bit more breeze on the right at the minute mark. I would imagine boats that are on that right-hand side of the course to be just going a touch faster. And that's all you need. You just need to be a touch faster, and that counts for many, many meters in these foilers.
And we can see, we can see there, Deja Vu, Micah Donovan has taken full advantage of that and has pulled out over 100-meter lead here.
It's nice. It's nice. There's a lot of wiggling going on around here, though, and perhaps there's some connection issues, or maybe it's just happy fingers on the keyboard. But steady is good in these boats. Steady is always good.
There are, of course, always the slight issues we have with internet connection and virtual regatta just playing a few little games of its own, which can put the odd spanner in the works here.
Now, the big thing here will be Deja Vu's just tacked on starboard for the approach to the windward mark. If he can lay that left turn, then that will be a big distance saver. One more maneuver is very costly. So you're trying to enter these windward marks without having to tack around one.
And here he is rounding in first place. Joe 2110, that's Joe Drake in second place. And then we've got Terry in third, second and third. Oh, with a penalty there for Terry.
Shame, shame. And look how tight it is in the pack from some sort of third to the 10th spot. They're really nip and tuck. And it's hard. It's hard in these boats when you can't find the room to keep them going and keep them moving fast.
And we can see just streaking out there, way in the lead there, Deja Vu. That is Micah Donovan having a glorious race. His lead now up to 235 meters.
And a nice clean rounding again, closely followed by Joe. And he's split gate. That's always a smart thing to do when you're in second place, is try not follow too much. You're not going to pass him by following him, so I'm going to go opposite way here and see what opportunity lies.
Now, as we look up the race course here, wow, the spectators on the Portsmouth shoreline must be having a field day seeing this many F50s out in the water.
Yeah, they weren't going to get this in the America's Cup Series, were they? So we're treated here today.
And the budget for the Youth Nationals, Luke, this must be way more than in your day in the Youth Championships.
Oh, infinitely more, and the turnout is even bigger as well.
153 entries there were for this event.
Staggering numbers. So I'm feeling the nerves for all these guys here, but they are still standing on top of the shoulders of the other 140 in the country. So wherever you finish here, you've done well to be on this start line.
And it's great for Ineos Team UK, clearly, to provide so many boats for the event.
Yeah.
We've got a few privateers here, Deja Vu being one of them. Very nice to own your own F50.
And good to see that winning as well.
Foiling beautifully into this windward mark. What a rounding. 200-metre lead.
And I feel like for Deja Vu here, we're probably in a fairly comfortable position. It's just doing the simple things well, might just wrap this up, which is the commentator's curse always.
We look on board, 44 knots coming into this jibe mark.
And it's the home straight. Oh, goodness.
Oh, no!
Oh,
the commentator's curse has struck Luke.
Was that a show boating? That was a double rounding of the lure mark. I hope that doesn't penalise you. You're still well ahead.
Well ahead, 45, nearly 46 knots over the finish line, even with that show boating.
Oh, that was wonderful. That's stylish. We'll have to, if there was a replay option, that's what we'd be watching there.
This is something we've not seen in the F50s themselves. Someone actually doing a double loop on the last mark. That is quite a manoeuvre.
Was that intentional, Mike?
Yeah, I just got bored. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I was happy about winning that race, but I should have won the last one, so proving a point.
Wow, what a race that was. And it had absolutely everything, including that showboat rounding of the leeward mark.
That was great. That was really good to see that. I tell you what, I've learned a few things here today, ready for my racing for Wednesday. So I'm thanking these guys for showing me that.
And when we look at that chart of this final race, we can see there Deja Vu all the way from the start until the finish, just kept that lead. Whereas if you look at the various others who were taking part, the results were really, really up and down.
Yeah, and that's how we thought it would be in this class. It's always hard to stay clean and stay fast. And sure enough, it looks like an emotional roller coaster from second onwards in that race.
Now, Johnny, how are things going on the scoring there?
Yeah, looking good. We've got the final scores ready. So we'll go. Should we do a countdown from third up to the gold medal, to the podium? So the full results will go out later. But in third place overall, we have, with that bullet in the last race, Mike Donovan managed to climb onto the podium.
Well done.
Fantastic. In second place, who do we have?
And then second place we have Max Steele.
Max Steele.
And then our winner on 10 points is Terry Hacker.
Terry Hacker.
Well done.
Yeah.
Now, Terry, let's have a few words from you, please.
I think I got quite lucky in the first race, really, though. Still.
That's as maybe. If you're going to roll double sixes and get away with it, then take your luck, and congratulations. And
Thank you.
Luke, your thoughts on the racing?
Well, it's shown a good all-round winner here, I think, today with the three classes. And we've seen a ton of place changing, and it's really good to watch it from the other side of the coin. And, you know, you said you got lucky there, Terry. Well, there's that old saying that rather be lucky than good. So you got to take it when it comes, because the bad luck often is there too.
Well, that was some fantastic racing. It was so good to see over the weekend, 153 different entries. This final racing in the J70s, the 49ers and the F50s really mixed it up on a beautiful day just off the Portsmouth shoreline. Luke, thank you very much indeed for joining me on the commentary today. It's provided some real colour there. And Johnny, thanks very much indeed for organising the racing and, of course, doing the scoring. This has been absolutely beautiful to watch and fantastic to see our young sailors, our youth sailors, doing so well in this racing. Okay, we will see you on Wednesday for round 2, Wednesday at 4 p.m, round 2 of the Lockdown Cup. Shortly, we'll be announcing the winners of the yachtsandyachting.com competition, where we've got 5 competitors taking on our top Olympians and amateur sailors. So that's going to be yet another really exciting day of racing. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Catch you all soon.